You ready?
I am.
This email is titled, I Just Want to Be Heard. First of all, I want to say thanks for even taking the time out of... Oh my goodness. First of all, I want to say thanks for even taking the time to read my email. It means a lot. I'm not seeking clout or time on your show, but merely seeking comfort and solace. Getting my feelings on screen will be a form of therapy in itself. I'm a 35-year-old male, married to a 35-year-old female who has been one of my reasons for living for the better part of 12 years. We have 4 children, 3 being our own, and 1 from her previous marriage, who is the oldest. Ages ranging 5 to 12. I want to preface before going further, I am genuinely an easygoing, calm, and reserved man who knows when it's time to be respectful and keep my mouth shut in certain situations. But all too often, I find my anxiety and rage have become my new norm. I also do not have an official diagnosis of any kind, but I do believe I have my own issues with depression. I have no outlets or hobbies, and like many others, I work more than I'd like to. I used to game quite a bit, but the joy that would bring me has faded with time, and of course, being a family man of 6, family necessities and other commitments do not exactly allow much time as it is. Okay. I thought he said they had 5 children. And I was like, you said a family of 6. I was like, bro, that's just your kids and your wife. Like, where are you in that? And that's a whole nother discussion in and of itself. Why are you laughing?
I'm just listening.
Okay.
This is a relatively short email, so I'm going to let you get through it, and then we're going to go back and hit bullet points.
Okay. I find myself listening to music a lot, while also doom scrolling TikTok, where I come across numerous videos of your podcast. I wanted to say thank you for giving me some insight, but I remain trapped in my own problems. That anxiety and rage I mentioned before is destroying my sense of self and is beginning to spill into my marriage. What was once a beautiful union has become a daily intake of stress, hurt, and resentment. My wife suffers from a select few mental illnesses, and they are much more prominent than my own. Because of this, I feel I've dedicated my entire marriage and future to helping assuage her fears.
Okay, wait a minute. How much more of this do we actually have? Is this because I thought it was shorter than this?
Like 2 more paragraphs.
All right, let's not skip ahead.
Okay.
Go back up to the top where he talks about the anger rage thing. He said before that he was a very laid back person that knows blah, blah, blah. Let's start there.
I am genuinely an easygoing, calm, and reserved man who knows when it's time to be respectful and keep my mouth shut in certain situations. But all too often, I find my anxiety and rage have become my new norm.
Okay. And the title of this email was Having a Hard Time Being Heard.
I just want to be heard.
So he knows what the problem is.
All right, you want to be heard.
Right. You getting angry and yelling and like being loud is because you don't feel like you're being heard.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be raising your voice. The idea of somebody being just a laid back kind of person and all of a sudden they're anxious and angry, that's not how that works. You're not a laid back person if you're anxious and angry. You're anxious and angry. You may have at one point been a laid back person, but that's definitely not the case anymore. So something has caused that. So if you're angry and anxious all the time and you feel like you're not being heard, there's the basis of it. You need to find a way to communicate what's going on. And it sounds to me from the first part of the email, that you're not communicating effectively and you're probably just buttoning down and not saying shit because you said you know when to speak and when not to.
Where did your piece go?
Right.
And when did it leave?
And then skip to the next part where he's talking about the hobbies and doom scrolling.
Okay. I have no outlets or hobbies, and like many others, I work more than I'd like to. I used to game quite a bit, but the joy that would bring me has faded with time, and of course, being a family man of 6, family necessities and other commitments do not exactly allow much time as it is.
Okay, we can stop there because then he goes into talking about how he finds himself doom scrolling TikTok, watching a lot of our clips. So this is a real simple thing. Check your screen time. Because it'll tell you, you've used your phone for 15 hours this week.
I've heard people say 15 hours in a day.
That's insane. That's insane. Like you're connected to a wall at that point because your shit's dying.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those things that you have to prioritize your time. And if you get 15 extra hours a week, let's be realistic, probably most of the time that's 30 minutes here, an hour there, 45 minutes here, 2 hours there. Like if you're doom scrolling TikTok, your 20 minutes turns into 2 hours real fucking quick.
Mm-hmm.
So prioritize a set day every Wednesday from 8 to 10 o'clock at night. You're off limits. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb, put the kids to bed, and go do something for yourself. Go read a book. Go tinker with something in the garage. Go to the gun range. Go play video games if that's what makes you happy every Wednesday from 8 to 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You not having a hobby and you not having a reason to like exist other than work and taking care of somebody else, you're not living. You're a servant.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fucking problem. It's
It
no
is.
different than the stay-at-home mom that never does self-care.
Mm-hmm.
We need that. Men need that.
Right. And an argument could be made of, well, the kids don't stay in their bed or whatever, right? That's a lack of boundaries. Kids don't come with a manual. Kids do not just become adults and know how to be adults. That could be one of those moments where you explain to the children, like, look, decompression time is a thing. Work is a lot. School is a lot. When you come home and you play, that can be considered your decompression time. It is after bedtime. Your teeth are brushed. We've put you to bed. It is now my decompression time. This is now my playtime. Go back to bed.
Could also lean on your partner.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's Wednesday. When they get up, just know that you're going to have to handle them until I'm done at 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with men or women setting a schedule for themselves and just taking that time to do something that they enjoy.
Yeah, we literally schedule out our time.
We schedule fucking everything now.
We
We
do.
live on a Google Calendar. It sucks.
I just actually got the kid's stepmom onto the Google Calendar.
Yeah?
We are scheduling everything now.
It's smart.
Yep.
I really... I'm not going to say that because it's just more work for Steve.
I know.
Do you?
I do.
What was I going to say? Fuck it, Steve. You can work.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
That you really want to have like a good relationship.
Damn, woman.
And,
Get out of my fucking head.
and be friends and do the dad thing together.
Wow.
Experience
How
it
did you
together.
get that? How did you get that? How did you can leave all that in, Steve? How did you get that? Like I gave I gave nothing, right? Like
Right. Okay.
real shit. There was nothing there that would have indicated that that's where my head was going. Nothing. Zero. You weren't even talking about him. You were talking about her.
Right.
How did your brain get to that as
I
to
don't
where
know.
I was going?
I just read that like a book. Yeah.
Wild.
I don't know. Popped into my head. Is that what he was talking about?
That's what I was talking about. That's exactly.
No.
Oh,
I mean, like Tyler.
that's
is
your
that what-
discernment. That's
Yeah.
exactly what that is. Yes. That's exactly what that is.
That's
So,
crazy.
it is. It is. It's insane.
Wow.
Yep.
I love you.
I love you more.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. More than yesterday. More than this morning. More than 2 weeks ago. Yep. Don't do it.
Guys, I get to die married to this man. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I have chills now. I'm kind of going through it.
Are they multiplying?
Yeah. And I'm losing control. That's what it was. Okay. That's what that long pause was. I'm so sorry, guys.
Oh, man. It's been such a long day.
It has.
All right. Let's get back to the email.
Okay, you're right. Do you want me to just get into the next part of the doom scrolling? Or are we going into the
Let's
anxiety and rage?
skip the Zoom scrolling because we just cleared that.
That anxiety and rage I mentioned before is destroying my sense of self and is beginning to spill into my marriage.
This is where men become a shell of a man. This is where people become a shell of a person.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know how to articulate what is going on with inside of you, and you're either too afraid to talk to your partner, because fear is a very real thing for people. So you're either too afraid to talk to your wife, don't know how to talk to your wife, or don't think that anything will come of it, so you're choosing not to.
Right.
Because this is a conversation that should be had during a check-in. Mm-hmm. This is the way that I'm feeling. And maybe you can't figure out why you're feeling that way, but that's where the conversation starts. I don't know what's going on with me lately, but I'm fucking angry all the time. And they're going to go, well, what's going on? And you're going to go, I don't know. But then you guys are going to start having a conversation. Eventually, those floodgates are going to open. Mm. But that's only if you are truly safe in talking to your person. Because if you think that you're going to be judged, or that there's going to be conflict, or that there's not going to be a true self of resolution, true sense of resolution, you're just going to bottle it up, because that's what we do. It's not fucking healthy.
That sounds very miserable, very sad.
Yep, and most men feel that way all the fucking time. It's not success. You're not going to win your marriage. Like, you're not going to win at life. You're going to fail at almost everything if you cannot communicate. You have to be able to talk to them. Do the check-ins. Mm-hmm. Start the check-ins. Give yourselves a safe time frame, once or twice a month, to sit down, or 3 times a month, or once a week even, to have conversations where you can do a little bit. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit. And eventually you'll find yourselves talking all the fucking time, and it won't feel like a thing. But you have to teach yourselves how to talk to each other again. In the beginning, you shared everything.
Yeah. And there was no judgment. There was no poor reaction because you wanted to be supportive.
Right.
Yeah. That anxiety and rage I mentioned before is destroying my sense of self and is beginning to spill into my marriage. What was once a beautiful union has become a daily intake of stress, hurt, and resentment. I hope the resentment has gone into a little bit further. My wife suffers from a select few mental illnesses, and they are much more prominent than my own. Because of this, I feel I've dedicated my entire marriage and future to helping assuage her fears and concerns while neglecting my own. I don't want to say I resent her for this, but part of me is struggling with the concept that my problems will always be trivial in comparison, and in turn, no guidance or help will ever be received from me.
So there's the problem. Across the board, there's the problem.
Can I say something before you go into that? Will you remember? Okay. So, you've dedicated your entire marriage and future to helping her fears and her concerns while neglecting your own. So you showed her in reality, so internally you neglected it. Externally, because you were so focused on her, could there have been moments where she tried to care for you and you're like, no, you're going through it, I'm fine. Like you said prior, you teach people how to handle you.
Yep.
So if it was never a big deal, it's never a big deal.
I'm willing to bet that that's a thing.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
Because they want to appear strong.
Right.
I got this.
Or the other side of that devil's advocate is that there could have been times where he started to say something and it got turned into a her thing, and now he feels like he doesn't matter.
Yeah, that could be the thing.
That is a thing for a lot of people too, because women are really good at manipulating situations.
Bringing it back around and making the other person feel bad.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot in that. Him not being able to tell his wife what's actually going on and making it so that he actually does resent her for the fact that she can vent and process and have help in a caring ear, and he can't, is a fucking problem.
It is.
It's a problem. That's a very one-sided relationship.
Mm-hmm. And if that's how it started.
It's not, because that's what he said. It was a beautiful thing in the beginning.
In the beginning.
That's what he said. But somewhere along the lines, things must have shifted.
Okay. So I'm processing a lot. I'm going to read the next line and then get into what I'm going into. He says, which is why I feel so muzzled. There are always bigger problems to deal with. So if it was beautiful in the beginning, you guys got married, like I said prior, where did your peace go? So was there like I said prior, the nonchalant, like I'm fine, don't worry about it, I can deal with my own things, and you really focused on her because you wanted her to feel safe around you and protected, and like you were doing the man thing. And then after a few years, you really started to recognize, oh man, like, as you clearly feel, you feel muzzled. I would be asking myself, did I put myself in this position? Because I always downplayed it. So that would be something to ask her, like, hey, babe, like, do you ever feel like I ever need emotional help? Do you ever feel the need to come and comfort me? Because I am asking for that. If I am not asking for that properly from you, I need you to tell me how I can communicate to you, because I'm fucking going through it. Onto your flip end of things, when you did the devil's advocate, if it was always brought back around and it was her problem is now the big problem and washed off to the wayside, you still asked her to marry you. It's a lot for me to process. Do you have anything you need to say?
Can you read the last line again?
Which is why I feel so muzzled. There are always bigger problems to deal with.
I had something before that, and now it doesn't feel relevant at all. So here's what I'm going to say.
Well, I can read the other sentence.
Nope, okay. I don't care, because this is more important.
Okay.
This comes to, your trauma matters, right? Like what you're going through, no matter how big or small it is, matters, or right. You wouldn't be going through it. Mm-hmm. So to downplay your suffering because somebody else might be going through it more doesn't negate the fact that you're fucking suffering right now.
Right. And if the person leads you to feel that way, like what you're going through is absolutely nothing compared to what I'm going through and what I've been going through, unacceptable.
They don't care about you.
Abysmal. That's not how you treat a human being, especially the person that you want to call your spouse.
Right. That scenario is bullshit. Mm-hmm. And that needs to be a conversation. You need to be like, look, I understand that you have mental illness, because he said it. I understand that you have mental illness, and I understand that you're going through things and you're suffering right now, but this has been going on for weeks, and I have been bottling a lot of shit up, and I don't have an outlet. And I don't have anyone to talk to, because you're my wife. You're supposed to be my teammate, my helper. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to be going through the struggle together. And while you're struggling, I am fucking suffering.
With you, I have no one. Without you.
Pushing it all down and bottling it all up and not letting it out. And because I can't talk to you, I have no one else to talk to. So my option is to either go to a therapist or find somebody that I can talk to. And how does that end up? Because you're fucking miserable in your marriage. You don't have anyone to talk to. You're going to find somebody outside of your marriage, somebody normally of the opposite sex, because men don't like talking to other men about their problems. Mm-hmm. They're going to start divulging what's going on. They're going to feel that release. There's going to be an emotional connection. It's going to lead to emotional cheating and then physical cheating. And it's all going to come down to, well, I can't believe we got to this. How did we get to this? Because you can't fucking talk to each other. End rant.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed that, found it entertaining, funny, or even learned something you didn't know before, share it. And if you're not subscribed, why aren't you? And for those of you who want to support us, get access to exclusive content and live streams, we do have a Patreon. All the links are in the description.